Well, hello guys. We had today a nice story, and it's a nice article I have saved since August of 2016 about a police officer who had a nice going away ceremony after a 32-year career. So let's take a look at it right now, and we'll see it. We'll take a look at it. Read it. Dream job. Courageous lieutenant hailed after finest 32 years by Graham Raymond. NYPD Lieutenant Kevin Brown had a good ride. The 32-year veteran retired Friday with a ceremonial walkout from the NYPD's Rodman's Neck outdoor training facility in the Bronx that was attended by senior commanders and regular cops. Brown leaves a career strewn with accomplishments, including more than 500 arrests in his 3 decades on the job, and just a single civilian complaint, despite thousands and thousands of stops. Quote, "It's been a great job," he told the Daily News. "If I could have had my dream job, this would be it. I have no regrets." In the final phase of his career, Brown, 52, of Long Island, trained every narcotics detective in the NYPD on the nuances of the trade that can help save their lives on the street. Quote, "If you're in narcotics now, if you're in a gang or in vice, you've been exposed to Kevin Brown," said Chief of Department James O'Neill. But Brown didn't just train his NYPD brethren on best practices. He taught them his own special tricks on how to stay alive, said his wife, who is also on the job. In a lot of the role-playing and the search warrant training, he gave them helpful ways of getting themselves out of a jam, said Detective Justine Killian, 43, who works in the NYPD Cybercrimes Unit. He started out at age 20, walking a beat in 1984, and worked in the 13th Precinct Manhattan North Narcotics. He started walking a beat in 1984 and worked in the 13th Precinct Manhattan North Narcotics, the Organized Crime Bureau, and Auto Crime, among others. Quote, "Kevin is going to be sorely missed," said his former 13th Precinct partner, Peter Conlon, 52. Quote, "He's fierce, selfless, and courageous. Some people become a boss and forget that they were a cop. Kevin never forgot that. He was in the North Tower at the World Trade Center on September 11th, 2001. About 10 minutes before it collapsed, he was spared. But his good friend, police officer Robert Fazio, was not. Quote, "We were cops in the precinct for 8 years together, and I still keep his picture in my locker," Brown said. "It really gave me a whole new perspective on life." Brown has strong opinions about the recent murders of police officers in Dallas and Baton Rouge, and the deaths of Alton Sterling and Philandro Castile at police hands, and the protests that have swept the country. Quote, "Policing is necessary. When you call us, we show up," he said. "I think that what people really want is good policing, and they want to be respected. They aren't protesting the police." Quote, "I think the message gets messed up," he added. Quote, "Somehow this has to be resolved. This is the worst I've ever seen it." When Brown looks back on his career, he is proud of his part in transforming once drug-ridden blocks in Harlem into more livable places. He recalled in particular the stretch of Frederick Douglass Boulevard between 116th Street and 117th Street was among the worst blocks, was among the worst back in the early 1990s. He recalled in particular the stretch of Frederick Douglass Boulevard between 116th Street and 117th Street was among the worst back in the early 1990s. That's where you could buy the most heroin, he said. Now it's the Harlem Tavern. The transformation is incredible. Brown plans to continue working as an adjunct at John Jay College, spend more time with his 9-year-old son, and relax a bit before finding a second career. He also has 2 grown sons. As for that civilian complaint on his record, Brown says a motorist behind him one day was mad because he was driving too slow. Quote, he beeped his horn at me, and I drove a little slower, he said. Now he can really drive as slow as he wants. Lieutenant Kevin Brown, after stepping out of a vintage NYPD cruiser, says goodbye to finest lined up below at Rodman's Neck Training Center in the Bronx. So here's Lieutenant Kevin Brown saying goodbye to the finest, to the New York's finest, at the Rodman's Training Center in the Bronx. Dream job. Courageous lieutenant hailed after finest 32 years. Okay, thanks guys. We'll see you again. We'll see you again next time. Take care.